Okay, so this is part 2 of how to use ChatGPT to generate your speech. Very, very quickly, revision of the last video where I taught you how to think it through using a specific example of a speech that I have helped a client write. In today's video, we're going to learn how we can take our thinking and turn it into a proper speech, because right now all we have is thoughts. Now, how do we use ChatGPT to turn it into a proper script that you can speak? So a very quick revision first. We had said that first start with thinking, then generating. So with thinking, we said we're going to write opening, closing, then your unique point of view after opening, then 3 key insights. So one more time, the whole structure on a piece of paper looks like this: opening, your unique point of view, the 3 key insights, and then the closing, right? And then we said opening has to be very, very attention grabbing. In our upcoming videos, we'll be giving you some ideas on how to create. In the last video, I actually demonstrated in this case for a keynote on the future of workplace, how we created the opening. Then your unique point of view is you're being asked to speak because you have authority in this space. So you should have a unique point of view on the topic that you're speaking. Don't just say what everyone says. If everyone says technology is disrupting the way we work, nobody's going to listen. They don't come to listen to you and spend time with you to listen to the thing that they read 100 times in a day. They want to listen to something completely different. That is why it is called your unique point of view. Please don't say the things we listen to all the time. If you start sounding like every article that surfaces on the internet, they don't want to listen to you. They might as well stay home and just read it on the laptop themselves. Then 3 key points, 3 key insights we had that in future, there will be no such thing as HR, but it'll be HR tech narratives. In future, there has to be well-being at workplace. In future, every workplace has to have meaning. And then in the closing, we said we'll do interaction. So please mind you, by now I have just kind of put the content down in point forms, right? I haven't really written every word of it. Now, once I have all these thoughts, I'm going to go to ChatGPT or any other Gen AI platform that you use. Then what I do there is that I write down a framework called Craft. I learned this from Akimbo workshops. So I write down a framework called Craft, C-R-A-F-T. Okay, C-R-A-F-T. C is context, R is role, A is action, and T is tone. Okay, so how do you start this? You say C, you give context. Context really starts very well with, say, for example, as a. So in my case, if I've done all the thinking for my client, I'll be like, as a speech writer, because I'm writing the speech for my client. Or as a keynote speaker, if you are giving the speech. So as a this person, I am speaking at a conference with 500 people from HR community, and what I'd like for them to have at the end of it is clear, what do you want, who are you speaking to, you as a who, and what do you want. So you kind of, you want them to walk away with very clear guidelines of how to create a future-ready workplace, right? That's the context. Then you go into the role. You have to give generative AI the role. What kind of a role do you want it to play, right? You want it to play a role of, play a role of a HR specialist working in a corporate organization, because that's like your audience. So you want it to play a role of who your audience are, who is listening to you, or play a role of a specialist speech writer, because think hard about who do you want your ChatGPT to play the role of, so that it's clear about whose eyes ChatGPT needs to view the content that you're putting in from. So you've given ChatGPT a role. Now you go A. A is actually action. You will say, this is my thought process for this particular speech. You take all the pointers you had thought and you dump it into that part, right? Use these draft points, use this content. This is my thought process. You put all of that there, right? And then F is format. What do you want for it to do? Please help me prepare a 30-minute speech for this particular keynote. So F is format. And T is tone, tonality. Now you have to think hard about what kind of tonality would you like in a conference. So you want encouraging, inspirational, If I'm writing a speech, then I will have encouraging, inspirational, action-oriented. But if I'm writing a white paper, I'd want the tonality to be, analysis-driven, very data-informed. You have to really understand what exactly is the tonality of the communication based on where you are actually speaking. So one more time, let's quickly revise this. CRAFT, C is context, R is the role, A is the action, F is the format, and T is the tonality you would want this output to this communication to have. Okay, in context, as a is a great way to start. Role is the role you'd like ChatGPT to play so that it can actually help view through that person's eyes. Often I like to put my audience in there. And then A is dump all the thinking in the A part, and T is tonality, based on what kind. So for boardroom presentations, my tonality is very business driven, right? But for a speech kind of thing, I want it to be motivating, inspirational, encouraging, and all those sorts of things. So once you've got that speech, it generates the first set of the speech for you. You've got the speech out. What I would say is now you have an excellent first draft. It's still a first draft. So after I got my first draft, I will quickly go through everything and make edits. Now, after I make edits, then I will make edits in the content. Then I will actually, I will say the speech over and over again and make sure that it sounds like the person who's going to speak it. It sounds, if I'm speaking, then I will take out the words that are not suitable for me. Like some people don't say certain words really well. So I will take out those words. And if the time that you gave ChatGPT 30 minutes for the speech, please make sure that if you gave 30 minutes, it's going to definitely take you roughly about 35 to 37 minutes to deliver it. Because ChatGPT is trained to look at something and calculate the delivery time based on the number of words. However, when you are delivering something, there is audience interaction, there is intonation, you spend time walking up on the stage. How you write something and how you deliver something is always different. So I will then make sure that if I am going, it's ChatGPT is telling me it's 30 minutes, then I will make it 25 minutes because I definitely need that time. So once you have all of that in place, of course, you have to say it and practice it at least 5 or 6 times to build the fluency. Finally, I want to finish with telling you what I have learned about speeches after having given them for 11 years. My biggest learning about speeches is this, and I've learned this from Dr. Brene Brown. The best part of any speech is that unplanned, spontaneous connection that you make with the audience on the spot. So you hadn't planned this, but there's some kind of a connection that happens. You say something and they laugh, or you say something unusual happens, you respond to a reaction from the audience. When those things happen is when you really get the best speech. But you can only get to that stage if you already know how to get every word that you have planned in place. So you have to know what you're saying so that you're left with the mental space and the bandwidth to be able to engage on those unplanned. Fluency has to be there. And once the fluency is there, you can actually build that unplanned connection. My daughter dances, and her teacher once said, there comes a time when we stop practicing and we have to start rehearsing. What that means is that you have to stop practicing, and then you know the movements, you know the dance. Now you're focused on actually building a connection with the audience. That's where you are rehearsing before your big day. The number of times you practice determines how good you are in a rehearsal. Stay storied, and I'll see you here for the next one. Thank you.